You will never become what you want to become for as long as you are a slave to your desire. Your desire will control you unless you control your desire. And I think this is what summarizes our society in quite an adept way, because it's the most accurate thing. We all have desires. We all have these things that we want to do. We want to chase dopamine. We want to feel good. We want to enjoy the moment. But never before in the history of man have we had such effortless opportunity and access to unending supply of cheap enjoyment, cheap dopamine, cheap satisfaction, and ones that don't actually serve us, ones that don't actually bring us true enjoyment. They just give us dopamine hits. They just give us these little sparks of, oh, that felt really good. But it doesn't actually serve us. It doesn't actually bring us joy. And we've lost our way on it in terms of, we used to think that joy comes from, a phone. It comes from video games. It comes from food. It comes from these things. Whereas true joy and true satisfaction comes from a job well done. It comes from effort. It comes from achieving something. It comes from overcoming. It comes from deep connections. It comes from deep, meaningful interactions. Not all these other things that we associate with it. And so for as long as we continue to pursue cheap desires, whatever they may be, we're going to be stuck. We will be unable to reach the situations that we want. We were unable to reach our goals and our desires, like these true long-term desires that we want, because we are forever a slave to the instant gratification desires that we are seeking out. And this is where we get stuck, because never in history has it been easier to start, has it been easier to transform your life in every area. Not just health and fitness and well-being and things, but in money, in finance, in opportunities, in how you live your life, in all fucking areas. It has never been easier. With the phone in your hand, you have unfettered access to so much information, to mind-boggling levels of information. And what do we use it for? To watch cheap reels on our phones of people doing stupid things, of cat videos and of porn, of things that we just waste our time and our life on. And yet we could do everything we want. We could change our entire life. But it comes down to whether we are willing to take control of our desires and delay that gratification, to do the things that will actually serve us, that will actually serve our highest good, that will progress us forward. Can we delay the satisfaction and the gratification for tomorrow? There's this thing when it comes to spending money. And it works on most things. It works on if you're going to, binge eat, if you're going to do any of those things. But it was taught to me in the form of spending money. And the concept is that when you go, I want that thing, you go, cool, I'll get it tomorrow. And you delay the purchase. It's a simple method of working on delayed gratification. And then you see how many days in a row you can delay the purchase. So you wake up the next day and you're like, yeah, I really want that thing. All right, cool, I'll buy it tomorrow. And you buy it tomorrow. And if the need gets too great and you override it, cool, buy that thing. Then that must be something that you truly wanted/needed. But what happens in most times is once you get away from the situation where you're like, man, I really want that thing, you realize that you didn't actually really want that thing. That was just an impulse, that was a dopamine chasing moment. The same is with eating junk food, with sedating through social media, through all these kinds of things. If you can just delay it, just even a little bit, 5-10 minutes, you'll often find that desire and that need will pass. Whatever you were craving and trying to fill with that choice will pass and go away if you can just delay it long enough. Because you didn't actually need it. You didn't actually need what you were seeking. You were just trying to fill a void in that moment. And if you can push past that knee-jerk reaction to fill it, you'll realize that you're giving into emotional desires that serve no purpose, that aren't actually there for anything other than, as I said, a knee-jerk reaction. So if you can move past those moments, so we could use it with food, we could use it with spending money, we could use it with anything like that. The second you go, I really want to, I'm standing in this line, bored, I'm going to whip out my phone. Even just wait 1 minute and see what happens. See what happens when you're alone with your thoughts. See what happens when you take a moment to just be present. The perfect summary of it is still one of my favorite memes. It's like, I saw this dude sitting at a cafe with a coffee. No phone, no tablet, no computer, no one there, no headphones. Just sitting there, drinking a coffee like a fucking psychopath. I think that's fucking hilarious. But it's a true statement on our society at the moment. We see people who don't sit on their phones as psychopaths. We have no ability to just be present, to just be in the moment. And it's the same with going out for restaurants and things. I take my wife out, and we went out for her birthday recently. And it was nice to see a group of people who were not on their phones. But there were still some who had gone out to a really nice fine dining restaurant, and they're sitting there on their phones. I'm like, what the fuck's the point of being out here? They'd put their phones down, eat their food, drink their wine, and then they'd pick them back up again as soon as they'd finished. They couldn't just be there in the moment to enjoy this incredible experience that they were paying lots of money for, because they needed to be, oh my God, I need to be constantly stimulated. And this is part of this problem. We don't have deep connections to anything anymore. We don't have deep connections to our friends, to our families, to our partners, to our kids, to anything. We only have these surface level connections. I was having this discussion with a friend, and she was like, I realized that I was spending more and more time on my phone because I was feeling lonely. So I was seeking connection. So I was seeking it online, which then made me more lonely because I wasn't getting connection. I was just like creeping, and I equate it to being like a peeping Tom in the window. You're watching someone's life from the outside, but you aren't actually connected to them deeply within it. You need to find a way to connect with people in real life. You need to be there and be present and put it away and be in the moment and just absorb everything that's going on. Because otherwise you're going to be left hollow. And I think that's part of this depressive cycle of, especially of men in this world, that they have nothing of value. Their work doesn't provide value. They don't provide effort in their life, so that doesn't provide value. They don't have deep connections with friends or family. They're isolated even more. There was a study the other day where it found that it went from, I think it was like 5% to 28% of men said that they had one or no friends that they could talk to about anything. That's a really sad fucking statistic. That if you have no one in your life that you can talk to about what's going on in your life, of course you're going to be fucking depressed. Of course you're going to have problems. You have to have these connections and these ability to go talk to people and share and connect deeply with people and talk about things that matter. So we need to find ways to connect deeper. We need to get away from our phones. Yes, they have their place. And as I said, I think it is the greatest tool under the sun if you're willing to use it. I was talking to one of my mates that I grew up with, and we played basketball all the way through high school and all that kind of stuff. And as you may know, I went on to play college basketball in America, had a shot at going pro, didn't pan out. Such is life. But I look at the kids these days and the unfettered access to professionals. I would have killed for that access. You know, when we were coming up, the only way you got coaching was your parents had enough money that they literally paid for a coach to come out and coach you. And or you then made a rep team or something like that. But even then, you didn't get individual coaching. Now for $3 a month, I can have an app on my phone that shows me how to do drills like a professional. And if I want to kick it up to $15 a month, I can submit my workouts to that person and they'll critique it and give me feedback on it. You have the ability to get access to do anything you want in your life, to have the access to experts like never before. You know, right here, for free, on YouTube, you are watching me, or on Spotify, listening to me. I have been training people since I was 17 years old. I have been in the fitness industry since I was 17 years old. I am sharing you all of this that I've learned through that time. You know, I'm nearly 33. And part of that is that I want to share what I'd wish had been available to me when I was coming up through my journey. I want to share what I wish I could have learned earlier. So I want to give you the access so that you can avoid all the mistakes that I made, so that you can jump the queue, that you can jump straight into it and just start with doing the work and not do all the fuck-ups and not the mistakes that I went through. You know, I want to give you the ability to learn from my mistakes, and that's what's available here. We have this double-edged sword that on the one hand, never in history has there been such incredible access to experts and information and knowledge and motivation and inspiration and opportunity to transform your life in every fucking aspect. And on the other hand, there is unfettered access to just literally dopamine, feeling like a crank monkey on a slot machine, just going bang, 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 looking for that dopamine hit over and over and over again. The access we have and what we utilize it for comes down to how you choose to use what's available to you. If you want to use these things that are available, you can change your life. You can get the discipline, you can get the support, you can get the knowledge, you can get all that kind of stuff. We have access to it. Like, as I said, when I was growing up, if I wanted to get the knowledge that I had to buy books. Or, you know, I was in the early stages of you could buy programs on the internet, and, you know, they were from ClickFunnels and they came with 10,000 PDF downloads and all this kind of stuff. But that was still very early days. Now you can get it all here. You can chat with, you know, someone like me or a coach for, you know, quite readily available access, and in good instant time. You can Zoom, you can do instant, you can do Skypes, you can do Messenger, you can do voice notes, you can do all of this kind of stuff. Like one of my friends she's one of my closest friends, and we talk every single day. I see her once a year, but we talk deeply and have deep conversations, and we use it all through voice note. Like, you have this incredible access to people now if you're willing to utilize it. You have the ability to go forth and change your life in all areas. You just have to choose to utilize what is available to you. and use it in the correct format. We have all the things at our fingertips now. The question is, are you going to utilize it for that? Are you going to choose to override your desires, to not be a slave to your desires, to be in control of your desires, and choose what needs to be done for the better? Because if you can do that, you can change everything. You can change your whole life. It's just a matter of making that decision. It's just a matter of going, I am going to use this incredible access that I have been blessed with for the better. I'm going to use this access to transform it. But the question is, are you willing to do so? As I was talking to my wife about this the other day, because there's a group of men that I met through a support group, and I was like, I can help these guys. I firmly believe, know for a fact that through my programming, through my guidance, I could transform their lives. And they were there for mental health support and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I know that I could make a difference. I know that I could categorically transform their lives. That a lot of the things that they were talking about would fall away and not become issues if they took control of their lives. They stepped into their own power, and they started with their health and fitness, and then they took control of what they're doing, their focus, and they got a passion, and they had purpose, and they built credibility with themselves. They could transform their whole lives, and I think this group was fantastic, and they should continue to go to it, but they need another catalyst. But the biggest thing that it comes back to is, are they ready? Because it's the old quote, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I can present everything you need. I can show you that I have done the work, I have made the mistakes, I know the path, I know how to lead you to the promised land. Because I went through it myself. I'm leading from the front. I have lived this experience, and I've made all the fucking mistakes, and now I can present it to you so you don't have to deal with the mistakes. But if you are not ready and open-minded and willing to make a change, then none of that matters. Then none of that is important. The question is, are you willing to do what is required? Are you ready to make the change? Are you ready to take control of your desires and stop letting them run the show? Because so many people are oblivious to this little subconscious voice in their head that is running the show, that is running the day without any actual input from you. That we are just habitually running on these things that do not serve us. So you have to start overriding your desires. You have to become cognizant of them and go, I am not going to give in to these base desires. I am going to be, for lack of a better term, an enlightened man and make conscious choices of what I want to do with my life, of what I want to do with this stuff. I am going to make these choices for the better, so that I can be the best version of myself, so that I can step up and take control of my life. Because for as long as you stay stuck on that hamster wheel of chasing instant gratification, of chasing those desires as fast as humanly possible, you're going to be working your ass off to go nowhere. And it's time to get off the hamster wheel. It's time to make definitive choices for the better, for your best life, so that you can be the best version, so that you can step up and go, I am going to be this man. I'm going to show up as the best version of myself. It's time to control your desires and not let your desires control you. So, if you are ready for that, if you are ready to step forward, if you're ready to actually say, yes, Lachlan, I am ready to take charge of my life and do what is required, then shoot me a message. Let's get you into chasing greatness. Let's start you on a 30-day challenge and show you the power of consistency, show you the power of overriding your desires and just doing what has to be done. If you're not quite there, click the link in my bio, grab my top 10 tools to transform your mental toughness. And lastly, if you found value in this, if it spoke to you, if you enjoyed it at all, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm here every single day. I'm leading from the front. I'm showing you the way, not from a proverbial, look at me, but as in, I am in the trenches like you. This is me sharing my life experience and sharing what I wish was out there when I was coming up, so I didn't have to make all the mistakes that I did. So I'm here every single day. So help me spread that word. Like, comment, subscribe. Help me get it out to other people who need to hear this. And I'll be back again tomorrow. Until then.